Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus, but you might want to avoid being left alone with him. Good evening, I'm Jack Frost, and this is a North Pole Network newsbreak. The fallout continued today in the scandal that has rocked the North Pole. Kris Kringle, better known as Santa Claus, who already finds himself at the focus of an investigation into allegations that he exposed himself to a toy shop intern during a Christmas in July celebration aboard his yacht in Montauk, is being accused of similar behavior by 3 elves. North Pole Network reporter Douglas Furr is in the Marshmallow Meadows neighborhood with more. That's right, Jack. Despite the allegations Mr. Kringle's home is all lit up for Christmas, 3 elves now coming forward, alleging that Mr. Kringle approached them in much the same manner that he is accused of approaching the intern during the now infamous Christmas in July party. In each instance, they say he closed his office door, offered them a mug of cocoa, left the room, and returned wearing only a belt with a sprig of mistletoe hanging just above his genitals. The elves claim that Mr. Kringle referred to them and a number of other female employees as Santa's little helpers, and through fear, intimidation, and threats of placement on the naughty list, extorted sexual favors out of them on a regular basis. 2 of the elves have alleged that they were just barely 150 years old at the time the abuse began. The alleged victims have enlisted the help of attorney Gloria Allred. She addressed reporters just moments ago.
He ordered each of the women to sit on his lap and tell him that they had been good girls all year. He then produced a large, opaque sack and ordered them to reach a hand in and take a gift. The sack was filled with sex toys, lubricants, prophylactics, and bisexual pornography. In one instance, a victim pulled out a rubber phallus attached to a harness, which Mr. Kringle asked her to put on for use during an act that he referred to as pegging. She obliged and went.
Now, Jack, the allegations could put Christmas Eve's toy delivery in jeopardy. 3 reindeer, including Rudolph, have walked off the job, saying they refuse to fly with Kringle on the 24th. Here's what the red-nosed leader of the pack told TMZ earlier this afternoon.
Dasher, Comet, and I are disgusted by these allegations. Christmas is a time for delivering toys and eating carrots left out by the good little girls and boys. Women deserve a safe space to spread holiday cheer. We believe Mr. Kringle violated that safety. We believe these women. We believe the victims.
The reindeer said they will not fly unless Kringle steps down. It's led some on Twitter to suggest that reformed Yuletide grouch the Grinch replaced Santa Claus during the Christmas Eve flight. Other users chiming in suggesting actor and former professional wrestler Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson or talk show host Ellen DeGeneres take his place. The abominable snowman also unleashed a string of tweets writing, "Just heard the latest allegations against pathetic loser Kris Kringle. Always knew he was a pervert. I guess Nicholas isn't much of a saint after all. Absolutely disgusting, very disturbing, very sad. Will fake news CNN and MSNBC cover this? Or does he get a pass because of all the gifts he's delivered to crooked Hillary Clinton over the years?" At this point, Mrs. Claus appears to be sticking by her husband. She shared an Instagram picture of a male and female gingerbread cookie baked together as if they were holding hands, along with the hashtag, "Stand by your man." For right now, it appears she may be the only one doing so. In the Marshmallow Meadows section of the North Pole, where the mood is less than merry, Douglas Furr, North Pole Network News. Back to you, Jack. North Pole News reached out to Mr. Kringle for comment, but so far, it has been a silent night. We'll let you know if he gets back to us, and we'll have more on this tonight at 11. We send you now to the Savage Sacktap Christmas Spectacular, a very savage Christmas.
You're listening to the Savage Sacktap. It's not a podcast, it's not a half-cast, it's just a quick shot to the balls to help you finish off the week. We're cutting through the bullshit, filling your Friday with rage-fueled logic, and cracking a few jokes along the way. So grab a bag of frozen peas. There's a Savage Sacktap coming your way.
Smooth, lascivious, salacious, outrageous.
And from our dysfunctional house to yours, let me begin by saying Merry Christmas. It is our favorite time of year for fuckery, shenanigans, and hot cocoa. I'm Mike Montone. This is the Savage Sacktap Christmas Spectacular, a very savage Christmas. Joining me today are my brother Joey and sister Jackie, because when you can't find anyone good to come on your show, you turn to family.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, guys.
What a fine welcome. Merry Christmas.
Yes, and merry we're going to do a lot of wassailing and caroling and all sorts of things that go on during just a warm family Christmas.
And a happy holiday to the PC crowd.
Yeah, well, no, they can go fuck themselves.
Strictly Merry Christmas around here.
Yeah, they can go fuck themselves and their tight, twinky little asses. Before we do anything, I have a chocolate advent calendar that Mom got me, which is an odd sentence to say at the age of 32, but it's December 3rd right now. We're doing this. I still haven't opened the fucking thing, and it's sitting right here, so I wanna treat myself to a little chocolate before we get started. So let's.
Can you read the back of the advent calendar for me?
No, I can't, because it's pretty much all in German. Let's see. It's still in its plastic wrap. I don't even know how to...
Yeah, they're impossible to open. You should have opened
Get
it
like
before.
a
Fucking
sharp
Germans.
object and you just cut it. You know, this nail clipper will do the trick.
For such efficient
Yeah.
people, they make very difficult to open candies.
Opening your advent calendar with a nail clipper.
Yeah.
It's not going to be
Sounds
near it. He's on the backside.
Something
It won't go
doesn't
near
sit
any
well
of the
with
food.
that.
Yeah, I don't really... Yeah, nails?
Toe
Fucking...
tools close to chocolate.
Toenails go well with chocolate.
Son of a bitch! I don't want to ruin the boxing, but this is...
That's a really nice box.
Yeah.
Don't blame me.
That's what he said.
That was a joke. Yeah.
Chicken, I'm gonna have to ask you to fuck off. God damn it! There we go. That's broken part of the cardboard.
I left mine sitting on top of my cable box and melted all the chocolate.
That is something a woman would do.
Yeah. I put it in the freezer, though. I think I'm rectifying the situation.
All right, here we go. Ho, ho, ho. So I gotta... these are always a pain in the ass, because you gotta find the day.
Why
don't they
can't
just
they just
in
put it
order?
Well, yeah, in order, like a real calendar. This is, for such an efficient people, if this really was made by the Germans, they really dropped the ball on this one.
Also, it's just fucking with kids who are learning how to count.
Yeah,
that's true.
Where's number? I see 2. I see 3. I know I need both of those for today. Where is number 1? Oh, here we go. It's right in this kid's crotch too.
Favorite spot.
It is a chicken. You're not getting chocolate.
Motherfucker.
Joey spilled a beer.
On my phone.
Those are rubber reinforced wires. Thankfully, we won't fry anything. It's a chocolate of like a candle sitting with some leaves. I don't know. Whatever.
Use a paper towel.
And at some point, it's going to get knocked over and burn this kid's entire house down. All right. That's number 1. Yeah, put the beer you knocked over next to electronics, so next time it's the TV.
It's
that
electronic, but
gets
it's
fucked up.
out of range, so I can't hit it.
The fuck is this?
There's no doubt in my mind that you will spill that beer.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Cause much
Whoa,
damage.
whoa, whoa. There's not even a fucking chocolate here. I got swindled by these Germans.
Wait, I need proof. I need to see.
There's not a it's just an airplane and there's no chocolate.
Just, yeah.
What bullshit is that?
Maybe that's Mom telling you.
Maybe
get
it's a
little chubby.
sign, Mike.
All right.
The German's all shredded for a reason.
All right.
You get
December 3rd.
chocolate every other day.
Here we go. This is a good one. Snowman.
Really
No,
try
it's
to
the...
pick it out.
What the fuck? the missing airplane from December 2nd wound up in December 3rd. Some asshole at the fucking factory's just been digging into these.
in one of those.
This is bullshit. Fuck. I'm so glad we fucked these guys up in World War II. Fucking Germans with their bullshit games.
Maybe that's them getting back at us.
Yeah, this is their sick revenge.
If this is all a bit, though, and you planned this, then you did a great job rewrapping that advent
didn't.
calendar.
I didn't. That's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, we know it wasn't a bit because you had to open it with the toenail clipper.
We saw it.
Okay. Anyway. Wow.
See, now I'm going to have to spend the whole episode contending with chicken trying to lick up this beer.
Yeah, Kimmy. Can you,
She knew exactly.
Can you tend to the pooch?
Chicken's distracted by the.
All right, chicken has
neighbors.
Quite easily
become distracted. All right. Okay, advent calendar's out of the way. All right, so the plan for today is to appoint a Lord of Misrule for this year's Christmas festivities around the Montone house. And I'm going to explain a little bit about the Lord of Misrule, because if you're not I'm a Christmas buff. Not only am I buff, but I love Christmas, which makes me a Christmas buff.
I am also buff.
You're the farthest
not
thing
buff.
from buff.
People consider me buff.
No one
Strike
can...
it from the record.
No, yes,
He's
stricken
not
from the
buff.
record. No one
Stricken
considers
from
you
the
buff. But yeah, you are the farthest thing from buff.
People tell me that I'm
You
buff.
curl in
Name
the
one person.
You curl in the squat rack.
Too many people to name.
Can't
Too
even
many
name
people
him.
You
to name.
curl in the squat rack. You're not buff. But
Called the
yeah,
Smith machine.
If you are not, yeah, you squat in the Smith machine and you curl in the squat rack. No one thinks you're fucking buff. Anyway, you might not, if you're not a Christmas buff, you might not know who the Lord of Misrule is. So I'm gonna explain a little bit about him in a few minutes. But each of my guests here, Jackie and Joey, has been asked to propose an individual to be the Lord of Misrule, and whoever gives me the most convincing argument will be awarded the crown, and it will be theirs to wear during all family Yuletide festivities. I think Joey has a question. He wants to know if there's an actual crown, and the answer to that is yes, there is. Oh, this is the crown right here.
Wow.
And whosoever makes the best argument for the Lord of Misrule will wear this crown during Montone family Christmas festivities. Sort of as, I don't know if you remember during the election, they would send like Lena Dunham and a number of other unattractive, overweight women out, and they would campaign for Hillary. They were Hillary surrogates. You will serve as the Lord of Misrule's surrogate during Montone family Christmas events.
When you see the golden crown in front of you, for those of you who are not in the room, it makes I feel like the pressure of the debate really heatens up.
It's like looking at a Christmas Lombardi trophy.
Yeah, I
really.
want that crown.
Draws a striking resemblance to the Burger King crown.
Much nicer. Much nicer. Take
Yeah,
that
this
up.
is I believe this is, it says Disney on Ice.
Disney on
So
Ice.
I guess
Disney on
that's
Ice.
where I'm not sure what I don't know, like Frozen or I don't know. Every Disney story involves a fucking king
Where
or a
did you
crown or whatever.
Get this.
I don't know. It was just one of the I come upon a great many trinkets, and as you can see looking around, this is a
Another
grown
crown
man's,
actually hanging on the
another
wall up
crown
there.
up there. Yeah.
Crowns in your room.
This is a rather regal bedroom. They actually refer to this. I refer to these as chambers. Yeah. Anyway,
Looking around for a third crown. Bound to
that
be somewhere.
you may come up short on that one. I do have a can of Budweiser, though, the king of beers. So that
Number 3, good enough for
3
me.
crowns. Before we dip into everything, let me stuff your stocking with some social media links. You can find us on Facebook. It's facebook.com/The Savage Crew, on Twitter at Mike Montone, and on Instagram at Gary_Moiler. Have fun over there. We certainly do. So what do you guys know about the Lord of Misrule? Can you tell me anything? Have you heard anything about him?
Yes. So I think what the tradition is that there's basically these rich guys in
To the mic.
sorry. Did it start in Rome or England? I was trying to
could trace it
differentiate.
back.
Trace it back
Yeah.
to both. Okay.
I am gonna give a brief history lesson. So
what I know
you don't have to go
is-
too deep.
Okay, so these lords of these manors, these rich guys, basically picked a peasant or somebody of lower status to reverse roles with them temporarily and to lead the festivities of Christmas for a number of days, and essentially it just there was a lot of debauchery, a lot of drinking, festivities, and these peasants would then be able to be in these higher status temporarily. That's basically what I know about it. It was a very festive time, and
Yes, very, very
Lots of
raucous.
revelry.
Yes, lots of revelry.
A considerable amount of revelry was going on.
And some great costume, from what I understand. They dressed very flamboyantly.
People dressed quite foppishly back in the day. Yes, there was a lot of men. We would consider them probably dandies. We'd look at him and say, "Look, what a dandy he is walking down the street." So,
the Lord of Misrule in England in the 1500s. In Scotland, the guy would be known as the Abbot of Unreason, and in France, the Prince des Sots. And it was an officer, as Jackie was saying, appointed during Christmastide to preside over what they called the Feast of Fools. It was
Not to be confused, Mike, with the Feast of the Ass, which,
Are you going to throw you throwing a tidbit at us?
I'm throwing a tidbit at you, but, I probably should have prepared the Wikipedia for this, but I was very excited when I came across the Feast of the Ass on Wikipedia.
The feast, I love to feast on a little ass myself.
Yes, you do.
Kim just walked in, she'll tell you.
And so did Chicken. Chicken's the dog who's crawling around. The joke was that Mike eats the dog's ass. So the Feast of the Ass was a...
I'm not, by the way, I can't not giggle every time you say the Feast of the Ass. And all I picture is just some horny motherfucker spreading some chick's cheeks and sticking his tongue.
And the fact that there's a Wikipedia page.
Yeah, this is glorious.
dedicated to the
It's actually a
Feast of the
shame
Ass.
that this no longer happens, but
I
according...
feel like you just looked this up so that when Jean, your girlfriend Jean, looks on your phone later and she finds feasting on
I have an
ass,
excuse.
you have
It
a
was for
very,
the
very
podcast.
viable
I
excuse.
swear it was for the podcast. So the Feast of the Ass, per Wikipedia, was a medieval Christian feast observed on January 14th, celebrating the flight into Egypt. It was celebrated primarily in France as a byproduct of the Feast of Fools, celebrating the donkey-related stories in the Bible. So what really got me going was this excerpt from Wikipedia. A girl and a child donkey on a donkey
Jesus Christ,
would be
where you
led
going
through
with this?
town to the church, where the donkey would stand beside the altar during the sermon.
Please don't tell me they
And-
made the girl.
They did not, but the congregation would hee-haw their responses to the priest. It's up to your imagination from there. but It's the Feast of the Ass.
So no one got their salad tossed during this thing?
I have no idea. I didn't read the rest of the article. I stopped there.
It's Christmas, so you
We could
hope-
turn our family Christmas into a Feast of the Ass and hee-haw
not
every
do
time
that at
Dad
all.
talks
I'm not
to us.
sure I want to
wanna
eat
do that.
ass in front of the family. But yes, as explained, this was a sort of medieval European tradition. They have claimed that the Lord of Misrule comes from a similar custom practiced during the Roman celebration of Saturnalia. In ancient Rome, a man would be chosen to be the mock king, and he was appointed for the Feast of Saturnalia. And you're not going to believe this shit, which I guess the English and the French did away with this, but he would serve in the guise of a Roman deity, and at the end of the festival, he was sacrificed, which I think is hardcore as fuck. It's kind of a shitty thing to have happen to you at the end of Christmas break. You think people are miserable about going back to work on January 2nd? Imagine just being sacrificed. That's I feel like
The fool is sacrificed?
the
The Lord of the Misrule?
the Lord of
Yeah.
Misrule during Saturnalia. They didn't call him the Lord of Misrule back then. He was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
a mock king. He was appointed to serve. But at the end, the Romans, I think back the ancient Greeks
They were
and Romans,
savages.
they were very into sacrificing
Yeah.
people. Like they didn't know what the fuck to do because you think about things like rainstorms and shit would come out of nowhere, and they're like, oh yeah, the last time we did a dance and cut this guy's heart out of his chest, the rain stopped. So we'll go with that.
They also lived until they were like 12, so the guy was probably like
Yeah.
9. He only had 3 years left.
Yeah, you find some.
May as well go out with a bang.
You find some guy who's like 45. You figure he's really outkicked his coverage, and we're going to slice you open in front of. But isn't that what like every basic ass white chick says when they're going back to work on the second? I wish someone would just kill me. I don't want to be here right now.
Yeah,
Oh,
like,
this
kill me
sucks.
now.
Yeah, could make that happen.
Oh, my seasonal affective disorder's kicking in, so I'm in such a bad mood.
Seasonal, that's a thing that I've seen girls sit in front of these light boxes.
Oh, they have those
actually
vitamin
sit-
D lamps.
Yeah, they just sit in front of her at which
Yeah, we had an old one of our old excessive we once lived with an excessive a more excessive masturbator than we are, who owned his own light box. So to each their own. You want to get those UV rays while you're jerking off. Anyway, what happens after this is, like we saw in that documentary we watched, the church wanted to consolidate power, which they couldn't do yet because they weren't powerful enough coming up in Rome. So what they did was they said, look, let these motherfuckers keep partying. We'll just tell them that now the real reason that they're partying is for this Christ character. So they just kind of, they pulled a little, if you can't beat them, join them.
I'm a powerful man, and that's a classic
sneaky as
move,
fuck.
yeah.
You see people doing a thing that they like, and you just come along and tell them, hey, by the way, that thing you're doing, it's actually ours, so you should really like that. They just straight up swindled them. And as the church became more powerful, and these sort of old Roman and Greek and all these, where they would have multiple deities, the church managed to consolidate power and butt-fucked everybody into submission, and the holiday took on a more Christian meaning. So we fast forward a few hundred years, and these hard-partying English and French guys who just wanted to feast and fuck during the Tudor period is when they sort of introduced the Lord of Misrule, and I have a passage here from John Stow's Survey of London, published in 1603, and he says, "In the feast of Christmas there was in the king's house, whosoever he was lodged, a lord of misrule or meister of merry disports. And the like had ye in the house of every nobleman of honour or good worship, where he's spiritual or temporal, amongst which the mayor of London and either of the sheriffs had their several lords of misrule, ever contending without quarrel or offence who should make the rarest pastimes to delight the beholders. These lords, beginning their rule on All Halloween, continued the same till the morrow after the feast of the purification, commonly called Candlemas Day, in which all space there were fine and subtle disguises, masks and mummeries, with the playing at cards for counters, nails and points in every house, more for the pastimes than for the game." And for those of you who don't speak...
Well read, Mr.
Yes.
Stowe.
For those of you who don't understand Elizabethan English, what all that means is that from Halloween to Christmas, a man of the lower classes would be put in charge of sort of all winter party festivities. Sort of like he's the grand marshal of Yuletide fun is the way I like to describe him. And what they mention is that this was going on in every lord's house and the sheriff's. So this was going on in any home of nobility would appoint a lord of misrule. So it's sort of like college football where there are like 50 bowl games, but there's really only one that counts. So we're trying to find, our mission today is to find this year's Lord of Misrule, the one that counts.
The true Lord of Misrule.
Yeah, before we move on, I do want to point out that the fact that all of this shit begins on Halloween or the day after Halloween sort of
November
validates, it validates those of us who begin the Christmas season on November 1st. So when we eventually form the November 1sters Holiday Celebration Brigade and begin our insurgent campaign of spreading holiday cheer beginning the day after Halloween, this shit right here is going to be it's going to be our holy Quran. So
Are we starting that brigade?
Allah Santa is what we will shout as we make the streets run red with Yuletide joy. Anyway, Christmas back in the day, I want you to picture a big mishmash of Halloween plus Mardi Gras plus New Year's Eve. Basically, what's going on is everyone is scared shitless that days are getting shorter because they didn't know about science or any of that back then. They just thought that the sun was disappearing. So like, fuck, we gotta harvest these crops and we gotta fucking rage because we might be dead in 3 weeks anyway. So
Sounds like a hell of an orgy.
yeah, it sounds awesome. People would be, they would be eating massive turkey legs and swilling mead and
Feasting on ass.
yeah, feasting. There was probably quite a bit of ass eating going on. People were just fucking out in the streets. It was a very, very festive time. And they would go house to house, and the wealthy would have to roll out all of their best food and booze, and they would host these little sort of mini banquets for people in exchange for them singing songs and putting on a play. So imagine Christmas caroling meets trick-or-treating, right? You're going to go up, you're going to put on a show, and it's their job after hearing that show to give you their best food and booze. And I actually did a little research. I snagged a cipher from one of their jams. So let me Let me lay it on you, you jive-ass turkeys right now. Come, butler, come fill us a bowl of the best. Then we hope that your soul in heaven may rest. But if you do draw us a bowl of the small, then down shall go butler, bowl, and all. And, yeah, that's right.
That's some light applause.
Applause, yeah, clap. Clap,
white.
all
He's
of you.
white.
All of you. Fucking clap. Clap, turkeys.
I have a microphone in my hand. It's hard to get good
clap.
volume.
Yeah, that's right.
Clap.
All of you clap for me. You can't, yeah. That's right. Okay, enough. Okay, that'll be enough out of you. And again, for those who don't get down on old school Christmas hip hop, what they were saying is basically that stay woke, check your privilege, and redistribute some of that tasty food and drink before we fuck up your butler and his bowl. And all of this went on for many years, every Christmas, and the Lord of Misrule presided over the goings-on until the Puritans started hanging around and just fucking ruined everything. The Puritans essentially canceled Christmas, which I think is actually why they got chased out of England and came over here to America. They wanted to form a Christmasless society in the U.S., so really, O'Reilly and Trump they're right. There's been a war on Christmas going on for centuries now. We're going to deck the halls. We are going to put Hillary Clinton on the naughty list. She's going to get a very big lump of coal in her stocking. I'm going to repeal and replace Hanukkah. Not going to be any more Kwanzaa, no more fake holidays. People are already saying it's going to be the merriest Christmas. It's going to be holly. It's going to be jolly. And they're saying, a lot of people have said this, I'm going to be the best stocking stuffers present. No more socks or underwear. We're going to empty the stocking, and we are going to fill it back up with Amazon gift cards. Before we get into this, we'd have to take a quick break, and then we will hear our first argument. Any questions before we go about the Lord of Misrule?
Do I get a handicap? Because Jackie's smarter than me?
You are handicapped, but you're not getting a handicap.
All right. Copy that.
Are you well informed now as to who the Lord of Misrule is? No questions?
I already know who the Lord of Misrule is. I'll tell you in a few minutes.
So you say.
I feel pretty confident.
Okay.
And we'll be back in 2 and 2.
From the network that brought you Ghosts of Abu Ghraib and Beware the Slender Man comes a first-of-its-kind Christmas documentary.
Are there no prisons?
Plenty of prisons.
And the union workhouses, are they still in operation?
They are. I wish I could say they were not.
It's Ebeneezer Scrooge like you've never seen him before.
The trade mill and the poor law, they're still in full vigor, I presume?
Both very busy.
Oh, from what you said at first, I was afraid that something had happened to stop them in their useful course.
The ghosts of Christmas past, present, and yet to come are telling all in an Xmas expose.
You will be visited by 3 spirits.
Hear firsthand the tale of an unscrupulous miser.
He was always a cheap fuck. That Christmas I took him to relive at old Fezziwigs? What you didn't see was Scrooge giving Dick a $15 iTunes gift card for Secret Santa. The limit was $30 for fuck's sake. At least tape it to a bottle of wine or something. That scene didn't make the book. He threatened to sue Dickens over it. Lawyers were one of the few things he actually would spend on. That and pussy. Till his dying day, Scrooge was an absolute muffhound. The guys in his MBA program used to call him Ebeneezer Coos.
Take a closer look at long-ignored allegations of racial discrimination.
Shit, that racist old fuck acted all aghast that a black man was the ghost of Christmas yet to come. Motherfucker, what year you think this is? Man, leave it to white people to absolve a rich motherfucker of all his sins just because he bought a crippled kid some toys and a goose. Hey, y'all need to wake the fuck up.
And the lust that drove his every move.
I remember taking him to Christmas Eve dinner at his nephew's house. We wanted to show him that, when he called Christmas a humbug, he was dismissing the love of family and failing to grasp the true meaning of the holiday season. But all he wanted to do was follow the women into the bathroom. I mean, he would literally just stand in there inhaling deeply while they urinated, and then he'd stay in there for like 5 minutes after they finished, just sniffing. It was totally creepy, but Marley was paying us pretty well to hang out with him, so fuck it,
HBO and Michael Moore present 3 Ghosts, the Ebeneezer Scrooge story.
Humbug!
Coming this December.
Many times, many ways, Merry Christmas to you.
And I hope you're gathered around an open fire with friends and family enjoying this holiday season. Michael here, filling in for Delilah tonight on the Light at Night. She indulged a bit too much at the station Christmas party, and her IBS is acting up something awful, but she hopes to be back in just a few days. Until then, let's hear from some of you. We've been getting your calls and holiday wishes all weekend, so let's go to the phones. Randy says he's on his way to the airport. It is such a busy time of year for travel. Heading somewhere to spend the holidays with loved ones, Randy?
I'm going to Cabo with my assistant Carl. The only snow I'll be seeing this Christmas is the uncut flake I plan to snort off of his meaty candy cane. Tell my wife she can keep the house, the cars, and the kids. I'm staying in Mexico. Feliz Navidad!
Well, wherever you're spending the holiday, and no matter what the weather, we hope everyone can enjoy the warm embrace of kith and kin this season. Hello, Light FM, Hussein, you are on the air.
This Christmas, the Americans will learn the wickedness of their decadent ways. The streets of your cities will run red with the blood of infidels. Inshallah, the stars and angels of the Crusaders will fall, and the black flag of the Islamic State will fly atop your Christmas trees. Allahu Akbar.
Well, there are so many colors that remind us of the holidays, red and gold and snow white. They all have a place on that big green Christmas tree in our hearts, so Hussein, a happy holiday season to you and yours. Season's greetings, Quantasia, you are on the air with Michael. I'm filling in for Delilah this weekend on the Light at Night. Do you have a special holiday message for our listeners?
I just want to let all the Johns out there know I'm holding a holiday special. First timers, get my mouth and this fresh shaved kitty all for the price of one. Now through New Year's Day. You know you can find me strutting this fine fat ass up in Hunts Point every night. I'll make your Christmas merry and bright.
Well, fresh-shaved kittens and bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, those are a few of my favorite things. You're listening to The Light at Night. I'm Michael, filling in for Delilah. We're playing your holiday favorites now through December 25th. Here's Julie Andrews.
Cream-colored ponies and crisp apple strudels, doorbells and sleigh bells and schnitzel with noodles, wild geese that fly with the moon on their wings. These are a few of my favorite things.
All right, we were rolling. I just want to, and this just popped into my head because you kept mentioning the Feast of the Ass. Feasting on ass in the middle of it. In the Middle Ages must have been an incredibly hairy affair to...
And doing it in the street?
Yeah, just could you just imagine, like, Jack, you just got back from Portugal. We were just in Italy. Those streets haven't changed since back then. So just imagine, you notice on the side of the street they have those little sort of gutters.
Yeah.
Those used to be used to actually flood sewage and shit down the streets. So just imagine being out in the street with shit water running all over the place, and you've just got a big set of cheeks spread in front of you.
A lot of poor European hygiene.
And you are tossing just a dirty, filthy, medieval European anus.
Good grief.
Bon appetit. So, with no further ado...
Seems like the right way to segue.
It is.
The natural segue.
The natural segue.
Now, Jackie, you popped out of Mom's vagina first.
Gross.
Joey last. You were last down the birth canal, so I am going to allow you to lead off.
Ooh,
Joe, we took that. It's like when we took that driver's license test.
Yeah. Well,
Joey,
Dad let Joey take his driver's ed test first because he was afraid Joey would cry if I passed. And
he also knew Joey was going to need 6 attempts.
That was the test.
That
was the written test.
Our instructor, when I got into the car, asked me how I thought Joey did, and I was like, I don't know. And he said, maybe just tell him to stop at stop signs a little bit longer.
And one day I might heed that advice.
All right, Joey. The court shall now. The court of misrule shall now hear your argument.
Alrighty. Well, I appreciate everybody's time.
Hey, Joey,
go ahead.
Good luck to you.
Cheers to that.
And the Lord of the Misrule.
Cheers to that.
So forgive me. I didn't plan a formal argument. I'm just kind of winging it here, but the Lord of Misrule, a few things that stood out to me is that this man needs to be typically of lower social status. The gentleman who I chose to elect as the Lord of Misrule is relatively wealthy, but he definitely behaves like a man of, or at least speaks like a man of lower social status.
Interesting.
They're supposed to oversee the shenanigans and provide nonstop entertainment. And
Indeed they are.
And indeed they are. And, they can create their own rules, according to an article I read on the internet. And they also were typically jesters and fools, which is the modern-day word for entertainer in my mind. So if you type this man's name into YouTube, you can probably waste an entire day.
You will derive a great deal of entertainment.
A great deal of entertainment. This man is a jester and a fool.
Okay.
And he's also never lost a game of one-on-one pickup basketball.
Never
Lost.
lost.
Never. You can ask Stephen A. Smith and you can ask Max Kellerman.
Really?
He has never lost a game of one-on-one basketball. Lavar Ball is my Lord of Misrule.
LaVar Ball of the Ball family. Now, you're going to have to, because a lot of, if you're not a sports fan, I know we have some ladies in the house, we're going to need to hear a case for this.
Of course.
If you don't watch ESPN, you don't know who the fuck LaVar Ball is.
Yeah.
I don't know who LaVar Ball is.
So LaVar Ball is the father of 3 children who play basketball. You have Lonzo Ball, who played at UCLA, who is now with the Los Angeles Lakers. And you have LaMichael and LeAngelo Ball, who are his 2 other sons. One of them currently at UCLA.
I mean this in the least racist way possible. Black people give their kids preposterous names.
Well, it doesn't end there.
Can we just say it as a room full of Caucasians?
But it always has to start. Well, it's almost like like la. They always start with like the la.
La or like duh.
Yeah, but it's not like
They take a regular name, but then put like a couple letters in
you
front
take
of it.
law off of off of LaVar, and all of a sudden your name is just Var. So I'm going to circle back to black people give their kids preposterous names.
They do.
And I say that with just all white privilege running through my veins in a room full of Caucasians, and I don't say it in a racist way. I just say it as a logical, pragmatic human being. Preposterous names.
Well,
preposterous.
Mike, can we let Joey get back to his argument?
Yes, Joey.
Thank you, Jackie.
Continue.
So that is something that I was going to bring up, the absurdity of his children's names. It seems to be something that runs in the family. You'll see here, I think that a true Lord of Misrule's got to have a good gang of hooligans. I think that his children are a great gang of hooligans for him, but he's also got 4 brothers, LaFrance, Laval, Lorenzo, and LaShawn. And that is a great cast. I want them knocking on my door and asking me for my finest food and my finest booze.
So what we're looking at here is really a squad of Misrule.
He's overseeing all of the shenanigans, and nobody's overseeing it alone. You gotta have sidekicks.
He's the
you gotta
leader
have
of
people
the
on your
pack.
side. Exactly. So yeah, that's important to me. And let's see here. I'm reading my argument in the form of some poorly written notes.
By the way,
on
if
my
I was a
iPhone.
high school teacher right now, you would be docked major points for the fact that you're scrolling off of a
But you're
phone.
allowed to, usually when you read your...
I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with note cards, but I would be bothered that you showed up on presentation day to read off of a phone instead of having the foresight to go down to the computer lab and print this out.
No, this is how a true slacker works.
Yeah.
So anyways, a few other very important points. Since the Lord of Misrule can create his own rules, I have an excerpt again from the reliable Wikipedia that I would like to share.
Go for it.
Alrighty. So LaVar Ball famously said that he could beat Michael Jordan in his heyday one-on-one in a game of pickup basketball. In his heyday, he said he was better than Jordan. He was faster than him. He was bigger than him. He was stronger than him. Jordan's obviously the greatest of all time. So this is a direct quote. He says, "I would just back Jordan in and lift him off the ground and call a foul every time he fouls me when I do a jump hook to the right or left." He's creating his own rules. He's going to call a foul no matter what the outcome.
So his plan
That's how you take down Jordan.
His plan to beat Michael Jordan in one-on-one is just to be the asshole who ruins the pickup game by calling a foul on every fucking...
Exactly.
Touche.
And then Another thing that I respect out of my Lord of Misrule is that when I was reading his Wikipedia for his early life and college basketball career, it struck me as if he had gone into Wikipedia and actually edited it. The way it's written, we've got...
That's actually a violation of Wikipedia. You're not allowed to edit your own entry.
I've edited.
You're not allowed to write your own entry either.
How do they monitor that?
They'll delete if they have reason to believe that it was you doing it. They'll go in and change it.
Well, according to Wikipedia, Ball attended Canoga Park High School in Canoga Park, Los Angeles, where he was a prominent quarterback on the football team and played basketball as a forward. In one season, he grabbed a total of 316 rebounds to break the school record. He stood 6'4" and weighed 250 pounds.
This guy's like the Paul Bunyan of fucking high school
it gets
basketball.
better. Aside from sports, Ball majored in criminal justice at college and had hopes of being a U.S. Marshal. He first began playing college basketball at West Los Angeles College in the low-tier Western State Conference, despite having little experience at the prep level. In the season opener in '86, Mike, he recorded 33 points and 18 rebounds against Porterville College.
Oh, well, that they always talk about that in the sort of the great moments from the hardwood was his LaVar Ball against Porterville.
And my point being that, it reads as if LaVar actually went in there himself and edited his Wikipedia with statistics that nobody can back up and really aren't that impressive.
Curious, yes.
So that's something that I want out of my Lord of Misrule.
Can't wait to write my Wikipedia page for myself later about my 12-inch cock.
Yeah. And to the point of dressing colorfully. That's what the Lord of Misrule is. They dress colorfully. They're entertainers.
I again love the term. I like the term dandy. They used to refer to people as a fop.
Very
Foppish.
dandy. Well, you can
Foppish.
look very dandy in your new Zoe 2 Showtime remixes by Lonzo Ball for $495. That's for a size 8 on their website. They have hats ranging from anywhere from about $40 to $70, and colorful T-shirts ranging anywhere from about $40 to $100.
So what I'm getting here, and from a lot of people who don't follow the Ball family, if you don't read Barstool or watch a lot of ESPN, a bit of a swindler.
Quite a swindler.
A big time swindler.
$100. A very colorful dresser.
Yeah, you're hawking $100 T-shirts. Yeah. You are the definition of a swindler in the model of Misters Abercrombie and Fitch.
And a $495 entry shoe. Your first shoe in the market you're selling for $300 to $500. According to Stephen A. Smith, you don't do that when you're an entry-level shoe.
Well, what is Mr. Smith's pricing guide to entry-level shoes?
I'm not quite sure, but it's apparently not $300 to $500.
I love I don't. You know what's funny about Stephen A. Smith? I never actually see him with the volume up. I just see him at the gym with subtitles and facial expressions, and
you can understand it.
It is infuriating and delightful at the exact same time.
Well, imagine these two gentlemen going at it together. You don't really get anything. You just have two people screaming at each other, and then usually two co-hosts kind of just sitting awkwardly next to them.
It's amazing that ESPN keeps announcing round after round of layoffs.
But I did have a source here from Britannica.
Okay.
In the British Isles,
Reputable.
the custom of the Lord of Misrule was typically associated with lavish excess. The more elaborate and complex your celebrations were, the more you could show off how much money you were spending.
Uh-huh.
LaVar Ball is a big baller.
He is a big baller. Isn't that the name of his company? Isn't it Big Baller?
The Big Baller brand.
Yes.
Professor LaMike, does Joey get extra points for having a source?
I'm not sure if it's extra points, but it certainly lends credence to his argument.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Just trying to keep score here.
Anyways, yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
Is that it?
I think that's my argument. I think I've concluded.
You think you're arguing.
Oh, and yeah, sorry guys.
Joey just got help from his girlfriend.
No, I didn't. Yeah, so I wanted to say when I was talking about how he creates his own rules and how he would just call foul on MJ to take him down in a game on one-on-one, a game of one-on-one.
Brilliant strategy, by the way.
Brilliant strategy. He also refused to thank Donald Trump for his role in getting his
Releasing
son,
his
LaMichael,
son
from prison in China or jail in China. And yeah, that's a strong Lord of Misrule move. You gotta have the balls to pull a move like that. And I think that I blame the no fun king Henry VIII, who abolished the Lord of Misrule in 1541. I blame him for us not having a Lord of Misrule today.
You have done a bit of homework.
A bit of homework, and I think that it's important that the first time since that pussy, the No Fun King, abolished the Lord of Misrule, we need to. You gotta have a strong Lord of Misrule to kick this off, and I think LaVar Ball's got that mindset.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's never lost a game on 1-on-1.
Never.
Just throwing it back out there.
He has never lost a game of 1-on-1. No. So LaVar Ball, our first submission for the Lord of Misrule. Well, just like the Feast of the Seven Fishes, I'm gonna ask you guys to snack on that one for a few minutes while we take a quick break. We're gonna have proposal number 2, our second proposed Lord of Misrule, coming up after the hop. Catch you in a few.
I'm going to take a shower. You sit there and have a drink. Water.
I don't drink. Can I stay on the bar?
No, you must come here now.
Louis C.K. jerking off during a phone call with a coworker.
No way! It was George Takei playing with a sleeping man's dick after dinner.
Wrong. It was Kevin Spacey with a sneaky sack grab at an Oscars after party.
From the makers of the board game Clue comes Hollywood Clue. That's right. We're putting a celebrity spin on the classic whodunit.
To know a person
I won't do a thing.
Was it Kevin Spacey trying to woo a curious teen idol into a homoerotic romp? Or a studio bigwig using his position to clean up on barely legal trim?
Everything, please. I swear I won't. Just sit with me. Don't embarrass me in the hotel. I'm here all the time.
Play with friends, take it out on a rainy day, or gather the family round to solve the mystery of who molested who in Tinseltown.
Please, I'm not going to do anything. I swear, my children. Please.
Oh, it was Harvey Weinstein with a potted plant in the restaurant basement.
And you'll never see me again after this.
Hollywood Clue from Parker Brothers.
On the first day of Christmas, a stranger gave to me a fresh case of HIV. Time Life Music presents the gayest collection of Christmas songs ever assembled.
Suck my balls and poke my hiney, fa la 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 la. I'll bend over, come up behind me, fa la 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 la.
Come fist me, merry gentlemen, please pound my ass all day.
Time Life Music is making the Yuletide gay with 50 timeless classics as sung by the San Francisco Young Twinks Choir. Available on 2 compact discs, 3 records, or 2 cassettes for just $19.95.
Come inside me, pa-rum-pa-pum-pum. I am a twink, you see, pa-rum-pa-pum-pum. Please fill my hole with cream, pa-rum-pa-pum-pum. Then felch it out of me, pa-rum-pum-pum-pum.
Only Time Life brings you the Young Twinks singing I Saw Bobby Rimming Santa Claus, the fiercest Christmas song of all time.
I saw Bobby rimming Santa Claus.
A stocking stuffed with amyl nitrate, methamphetamine, Broadway tickets, and the well-hung, slender boys of the San Francisco Young Twinks Choir singing Christmas classics is the perfect way to spread pride and joy this holiday season. With ass hair on his face, he didn't like the taste. His mouth turned into a commode, Santa shit all over the place. Dial 1-800-YULE-LOG. That's 1-800-YULELOG to order now. All major credit cards accepted. Sorry, no CODs. And ho ho ho, we are back here on the Savage Cruise Christmas Spectacular. A very savage Christmas, electing the Lord of Misrule for Montone Family Christmas Festivities 2017. And we hope you'll join us for a warm family Christmas. Jackie, it is your turn to propose and convince a Lord of Misrule.
You told me you were barely ready.
The family overachiever.
I had the choice yesterday to prepare for a job interview or to research the Lord of Misrule, and I have 3 pages on the Lord of Misrule.
And you won't be getting the job. Stuck on the unemployment line for another Christmas, are we, Jack?
Really hoping this podcast takes off. So, Mike, let's make some moves.
Okay.
On this. Anyway.
Let's hear it.
So I'd just like to thank LaJoey for his argument, which seemed entirely based on non-factual Wikipedia statistics. So I'm feeling pretty confident right now in my nominee, and I want to thank Mike for letting me be here today to announce my.
Whoa, hey, be careful with that.
Joey just stole my papers. So thank Mike for letting me be here today to announce my 2017 nominee for Lord of Misrule, which, similarly to Joey, is a man of extreme wealth, but differently renounced his life of wealth and class as a businessman to live in squalor in a studio apartment.
Give me a little more into that.
To live in a studio apartment with his child's best friend, where they share a pull-out sofa in what is frequently referred to as a shithole apartment. So I would like to formally announce Mr. Frank Reynolds as 2017 nominee for Lord of
Reynolds.
Misrule.
Okay, and he does have a reputation for Yuletide shenanigans, does he not?
Indeed. So I didn't delve too much into the Christmas special in which they do their Ebeneezer Scrooge take, but I would like to talk a little bit about just give some background on Frank, if I may. So he was a businessman, and when he divorced his wife, he wanted to hide his assets, and so he decided to denounce his wealth, and he hid it, essentially, from her and from the government, and decided to live in this studio apartment with his friend Charlie, and they share their bedroom, and after he did that, he really got into this deviant lifestyle, partakes in a lot of debaucherous activity, toys around with a lot of recreational and prescription drugs, which I think is key, it seems, in these festivities.
An essential element, and the Montone family Christmas has been no stranger to such things. Alcohol, marijuana, probably the tamest. Cocaine has made an appearance at 2 or 3 family Christmases.
I would, if I wanted to,
probably more.
If I wanted to put my money down, I'd say 3 at least.
At least 3, and I'm sure other stimulants like Adderall have made their way in there before that. I mean, there have been women of ill repute discovered naked in the home on Christmas.
And Frank Reynolds is no stranger to the world of whores.
He is no stranger to the world of whores, nor are we. We are joined by 3. Today, Jackie, Jean, and Kim.
Jean goes, chicken. It's called chicken, a whore.
Can't believe you have 3 pages.
Yeah, so we've covered the whores and the drugs, which will most definitely be part of the festivities.
Just be careful. Don't move the mic around too much because...
Sorry, I speak with my hands. I'll
speak
speak with the right hand. One other point that I'd like to point out is that Frank, he was... part owner in a nightclub, so very well versed in event planning.
Should Dynasties.
Phonetically spelt as Shady Nasties.
Shady Nasty.
So he is very, very familiar.
Back to black people having preposterous names.
Should Dynasty. Yeah, full circle. That's a callback, right? That's
yes,
what they call those things?
That is known as a callback. Good
we know
job.
what we're doing here.
Good comedy.
Remember, let's get the podcast going, because that job interview's not going well.
Unless you let him jerk off into a potted plant in front of you, you're not getting hired.
I have a lot of student loan debt.
Hear that, Harvey? We got a fresh one for you.
All right. So in my notes, just because I'm trying to remember what I was thinking about yesterday, but Frank was associated with the death of a hooker. He didn't kill her, but he was closely associated with it.
Sort of the Ray Lewis of...
if we need, and we talked earlier about how they frequently sacrifice the Lord of Misrule. I think Frank would spin this so he wouldn't be the one sacrificed.
Yeah, he would be the sacrificer. He'd find a way.
There may be some whores
He'd topsy-turvy a motherfucker.
Yeah. He is very innovative in his celebrations. He drinks wine out of Coke cans, if we recall these episodes.
And
can appreciate a good entrepreneur.
And I do want to jump in here. The Coca-Cola can, a long-time symbol of commercial Christmas in the U.S. Who among us does not associate the sight of a polar bear sipping a refreshing Coca-Cola with the holiday season. So nice ad there.
Indeed.
Jackie.
So a couple more things I'd like to make sure we touch on before this ends. Moving to my third page of notes.
You have rifled through these notes.
Well, I didn't want to take up everyone's too much time.
I appreciate efficiency.
Told
Keep
me
going.
she wasn't really prepared.
Incredibly prepared. I'm always prepared. I was a great student. I take this stuff seriously.
Yeah, you were a fucking egghead in school.
Yeah, fucking.
It's no wonder she doesn't have many friends.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
Sometimes I would see her in the hallways wearing the same clothes.
Oh yeah, Joey
during
called
the
me out
day
once because I wore
as she'd be wearing
wore a pair of
at night.
sweatpants that I went to bed in. I wore them to school the
man.
next day, and Joey. It was during finals. It wasn't a full day.
No excuse. No excuse.
And Joey saw me going down the hallway and started yelling, "She's wearing the same clothes she wore to bed."
I think the people had a right to know.
It's a good thing. You know, if that happened now, you would commit suicide live on social media, and everyone would be blaming Joey.
You know
That's what
the thing
teenagers
is
do today.
In the environment we grew up in, if I didn't commit suicide, I think that most people out there shouldn't be doing it. There was a list of, I believe it was the men that I had blown, just Post-it noted to our refrigerator,
and we only
high
had
school.
like half the names. We didn't even know about them.
And a small fridge.
For the record, I think this is a record. It wasn't true, but it was still Post-it noted onto the refrigerator.
Just because they don't finish doesn't mean you didn't blow them.
Yeah. And you can't confirm that you didn't.
I was trying to. Okay, so you guys are interrupting because I'm winning. But so my guest list for Frank, I think is something important that we should discuss. So he's going to obviously have the gang there. He's going to have Charlie. I hope people are familiar with Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
If you're listening to the show and
I
you
would
haven't listened
think
and you don't watch Always Sunny, then you probably turned this off. And no one's hanging around that hasn't listened to Sunny.
Good. So you're gonna have the whole gang there. We don't need to name them. You know, they're gonna be there. You're also gonna have Mac's mom. You're gonna have Charlie's mom there. You're gonna have Bill Ponderosa. Pondy's
gonna be there.
Gonna be there.
Yeah.
You're going to have that gang of Vietnamese guys that Frank always has in the basement of the bar, smoking, gambling, playing Russian roulette.
Will
Pappy McBoyle probably make an appearance.
Yeah.
Will Duncan and the guys from underneath the bridge be showing up?
The guys from underneath the bridge will definitely be there.
Okay.
We're gonna have Artemis.
Artemis is going to be there.
Yeah.
Speaking of feasting on ass.
Yeah, so we're going to have the Feast of the Ass combined.
No one tosses a salad like Frank and Artemis.
Yeah. We're going to have the waitress there, but Charlie is going to have misled her into thinking this is some type of very proper, extravagant event in which Charlie, of course, will be dressed in a tuxedo, I imagine. The waitress will show up thinking this is a nice event where she's probably going to hang out with Dennis, not Charlie. And then, of course, something will happen to her. I have some unfinished thoughts, but we can develop the episode when they start paying us more.
Is that I have a question, but if you were continuing, I can hold it for a minute.
Ask your question. That's my guest list is pretty much done. There's more people, but go ahead.
Because part of sort of the festivities we're talking about. Remember, this was a house to house type thing, and I'd be interested to hear from Joey on this as well. Will they be? Will this group be marauding about from house? How would? And maybe we can save this for afterwards. I'll just let you guys chew on it individually for the follow-up period. How would they go about? I want to know. What will Christmas look at? We said when they knock on the door of the nobleman. And demand his best shit, his best food and drink and pussy and whatever else they're being given.
Well, I must point out that when I originally thought of this, I was imagining that the Lord appoints Frank, and now he's the Lord of Misrule, and then that all the festivity happens within the manor. So I didn't think about going door to door. I'll get to that because I have some imagination there too. But what I thought was they would all hang out at the manor, and then Frank would probably take things way too far. And even if the Lord stopped funding the event, I figured since Frank is a millionaire, the Lord didn't know Frank was a millionaire because he lives in such a shithole. But Frank would have the money, then he could put out, and these events would just continue going on whether the Lord liked it or not.
So this thing could just stretch all the way through to fucking Valentine's Day, Super Bowl Sunday, St. Patty's, whatever.
So that was my other point that I thought about is that Frank doesn't recognize that this is a temporary appointment.
That he's
taken on a permanent role as the Lord of Misrule.
He's like one of those guys who gets elected president in Africa, and it becomes Lord of Misrule for life.
Yeah. Oh, chicken just got excited.
Yeah. So
she'll run out. Is that someone knocking or?
it sounded like it.
Oh.
At your bedroom door.
Yeah, check out.
So
She'll
I feel like
right
Joey
out.
made that person do that.
Well, yeah, we'll take care of it later. Just keep going. Yeah.
My argument was so good. So I figure he doesn't recognize that this is a temporary appointment. He's full in. He thinks that he is now the Lord of Misrule forever. But now, okay. So I can adjust though. I'm very agile in my thinking. I studied a lot on this. If we need to now adjust where they're going door to door instead of just staying at one place, what I think is Frank will definitely force entry. And then the gang will have some sort of blueprint of every home in the town so that if they have to force entry in like back doors, like if the Lord really becomes, very...
So you have this group committing what sounds like a series of home invasions. Are they going to be committing burglary or is this...
Yeah, I mean, nothing is outside the realm of possibility with this group, which is what really drew me to them as a nomination for this year, is that they're really not. They're going to go to all lengths to
Which
make...
actually harkens back to a Montone family Christmas. Just to deviate, our cousin Ben and I were out getting fucking hammered right after he graduated boot camp, and we went for a little stroll about town. It ended with us bringing a street sign into the backyard at Mom and Dad's house, which Dad was none too pleased about. Apparently, he considers that stealing from the taxpayers, which I don't know. It was the street sign had been knocked over and was out of the ground and was broken beyond. We should have kept the fucking thing. He made us return it. That's neither here nor there.
Finders keepers.
Yeah, under the finders keepers law of America, that street sign was ours. But there was also a moment in that Christmas while we were out on that walk that a bunch of presents were left out on a porch, and our cousin decided that he wanted to do a little bit of last-minute Christmas shopping and ran down off of the porch carrying several of the presents hoisted above his head. Unfortunately, I had to put the kibosh on that level of fun and make him go back. I couldn't in good conscience walk off with some kid's like remote control car or some shit, so I made him put it back.
That's a little borderline Grinchy. Well, I think I think I've gotten to most of my main points. The other key thing I wanted to point out is that, again, if this was held in the manner of the Lord who appointed Frank, he would have definitely left the manor completely destroyed, similar to how they left the Juarez family home during the home renovation episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I really hope people are familiar with this.
Move
if you're not,
that bus.
Yeah, exactly. So. He just would have, I really think as a candidate, he would have exceeded expectations. He's really the type of guy that you want wearing that crown and representing you during this debaucherous and festive time of the year. So without any further explanation, I again want to appoint Frank Reynolds as Lord of Misrule of 2017.
Okay. All right, ho, ho, ho. We're going to have the judge's decision coming up in just a minute after a little Yuletide a cappella from our favorite fella. When you hear him croon, it makes the ladies swoon. Here he is, my Uncle Tommy, singing Christmas tunes.
Dashing to the bowl in the middle of the night, ran out of toilet paper, started screaming for my wife. Was it the calamari swimming in the grease, the baked clams or the bacala we had on Christmas Eve? Oh, stomach pains, who's to blame when your hunger turns to lust? Just like Santa, ho, 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 we eat until we bust. Oh, stomach pains, who's to blame for the terrible way we feel when you sit on the bowl and you start to explode? Have a nice dish of scungeel. The families arrive, the house is all aglow. Tonight there'll be no pot roast, there'll be no sloppy joe, but a glass or two of wine, some mussels and linguine, some panettone, a fat cigar, and a mug of Irish cream. Oh, stomach pains, who's to blame when you're throwing up your guts? Santa's laughing, ho, 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 have more figs and nuts. Oh, stomach pains, who's to blame for the terrible way you feel when you sit on the bowl and you start to explode? Have a nice dish of scungeel. Come here, Rudolph, you'll get the
Gene, if you will stand up and just stand in the farthest corner of the room, and whence the...
Are we live?
Well, we're not live, but we're recording, yes.
Okay, that's just a guy holding a mic question.
Yeah, we're
live.
So, I actually thought both were fantastic candidates.
Now,
I want to say that right off the bat.
Before you make the announcement, would I be able to speak for just a couple seconds? It doesn't have to be right now.
I'll give you like 10 seconds.
I didn't get a chance to say how they would go from home to home, demanding their gifts, but the Ball family would do it. LaVar Ball's all about getting that W. Doesn't care who does it, doesn't care who the star is. It's just about getting that W. You can have 2 points on the night, but if your 2 points were the game-winning shot, or you made a big pass at the end of the game, as long as you got that W, that's all that it matters. So as long as you got into that house and you got that food and you got that booze, that's all that matters. And they would go around, doing crossovers, dribbling basketballs, backing people in. When they get into the house, if the Lord says no, they're gonna back in, and they're gonna back in until they take that food and take that booze, because they're gonna get that W.
Compelling, but perhaps something that should have been built into your original argument. So for the for the year 2017, I will award the title of the surrogate Lord of Misrule will be Miss Jackie Montone, the Lord of Misrule, Frank
Stand up for my crown.
Jackie, you receive your crown. This needs to be worn.
I will face this way.
And upon her head
is slightly larger than a child at Disney on Ice.
Is that adjustable?
I believe it might be slightly adjustable. I'm not sure. We'll have to check out after the recording is over. But that must be worn for all Montone family holiday proceedings.
I will wear it proudly.
Beginning, I believe,
right now.
2 weeks from today, with the birth celebration of Father John Montone and the trimming of the Montone family Christmas tree. And I will take this episode to an end now. Anyone have a quick parting shot before we go?
Yeah, I'm a sore loser, so Jackie, you go fuck yourself. I don't think you earned that win. You might have been more prepared. A lesson learned from me, don't write your essay the night before the speech is due, or something like that. And I think you guys are all fucking assholes.
We feel the same way about you.
I don't think that you could beat LaVar Ball in a game of one-on-one.
Probably not, but I couldn't beat most fifth graders in a game of one-on-one because I have fucking no jump shot. Anyway, Jackie, parting shot before we wrap this bitch up?
Of course, always. I have a lot of parting shots. My parting shot today is unrelated to Christmas festivities, but something I've been holding in for a while. My parting shot is at the kid from Stranger Things who I better know from the Verizon Fios commercials.
The Ferris Bueller shithead?
The little guy with the curly hair. You know who I'm talking about?
Riding the bicycle.
Yeah, acting real cocky to the family who just bought a TV. The people who've worked really hard their lives, and this shithead hasn't done anything. And he's very condescending to them about their cable plan. And I personally just don't like his attitude. I don't watch Stranger Things, but I know he's in there in that show. So.
I don't watch Stranger Things either.
But people may be more familiar with him. Curly little kid. Yeah, curly hair, Verizon Fios commercial, Stranger Things. Look him up. He's terrible. Parting shot.
Fantastic. Not topical, but we'll take it.
One more parting shot to the Mets. They sent me an email about a deal that I could get 40% off site-wide a few weeks ago.
Probably one of the best deals.
Great deal. So I bought myself a hat. They kept emailing me saying,
Nothing like NAFTA, which was the worst deal.
Well, I feel like I got hosed in one of the worst deals. So they offer X% off. They say, hey, 1 day only. I buy the fucking hat. Deal ends next day. Extra 10% off site-wide for a few days. That deal ends the next day. They're running another deal. X% off.
This sounds a lot like the way they run their front office.
Could have gotten an extra 10% off that hat.
All right, and a Merry Christmas to all, and be sure to check us out on social media. It's facebook.com/thesavagecrew, on Twitter @Mike Montone, on Instagram @Gary_Moiler, and I will see you in the new year.